Hi, this is DarkFox127 and welcome back to another Skyrim mod video. In today's video I'm going to be taking a look at my brand new mod, A Cat's Life, which is set for release next week. There'll be a release date on the screen around now. This mod was being created way back in 2018. I came very close to finishing the mod, but for various reasons I just kind of got bored of the project, moved on, released some other stuff like Riverside Shack, Millwater Retreat, Mershcombe Estate, Rebuild, and kind of just lost focus on it. I've recently come back to it and I've been working on it, especially my live streams over on Twitch, and finished the mod. It didn't need an awful lot done with it, but it needed some sort of major features working on, and I eventually got there. So one of the cats has just wandered off. What I'm going to start off with actually is the mod configuration menu. Now I don't usually like to do mod configuration menus wherever I can help it, so I stripped out of a lot of my old mods because it just wasn't needed. I prefer things to be interactable within the game, but when it comes down to a mod that has a lot of settings that you can tweak and features that you can enable and disable, then a mod configuration menu really is the best way of going about it. So you'll see that you get sort of welcome with the nice opening there, the header, A Cat's Life. Thanks for downloading. That will disappear the next time that you go into the menu. It will change. And you've got a number of different pages. So first of all, you've got features. I'll just talk about a few of the main features as I run through this and just explain some of the configuration that's available for this mod, and then we'll get into the meat of it and we'll sort of play around with the cats. We'll adopt one, buy one, check out the stores. So feature-wise, the main idea of the mod is to slowly gain the trust of cats and adopt them. Or you can straight up buy them. And they are mainly just pets, just sort of like a cat that you'd have in SO probably, that would just literally follow you around. There is a need system that's kind of in a beta, or will be in a beta on release for a short while, where they can die of starvation or run away if they're mistreated. But yeah, the primary principle is just to be able to get various different cats. Whether you want to work for it or just buy them up front, you can do so. So there's an adoption system here. You can even disable that if you just want to go and buy a cat and not have to worry about, you know, gaining trust of cats. We've got, like I say, the need system where they'll actually starve. So it's kind of like I need or realistic needs and diseases, but for cats, but not quite that much detail. A relatively basic version. And you'll even see sort of NPC cats around the world. So other people have cats as well, but I've been very careful as to who I've chosen to have cats, and I think it works quite well. But again, if you don't want that, you can turn it off. Loads of stuff that you can turn on and off. The configuration, you can get really into the detail of sort of percentage chance on a lot of stuff mainly. So the chance that cats will get angry at you and try and scratch your face off, the chance of cats actually coming up and being friendly with you if you're feeding them stuff from the floor, if you're getting a bowl with some food in it. You can also change advanced settings like the radius that you can kind of shout out to cats in a village when you're trying to get the attention of strays. You've got things like tutorial messages, which are littered throughout the mod, by the way. We'll get to that in a moment. And you can even change cat speed, but that can affect the animations a little bit. And also, just to mention the cat follower limit, there is a top limit of 5. This does not count toward your overall animal follower limit. It's complete own system, so no other sort of follower counters are affected whatsoever, and you can kind of change this to your liking. So all of the sort of tweaking and messing with things apart. You've also got stats, which I chose to keep in the mod configuration menu as not to just clutter the main stats menu, which you can actually do in the game. And you've got various things here, just for fun really. It's just an interesting thing to see how many cats you've interacted with and in what ways. We've also got tracking, so you can track all of the stray cats that you can meet around the world. So they're in pretty much the main cities. That's where you'll find them. And there's between 1 and 3 in each city. So, you know, big places like Solitude, Markarth, there's cats all over the place, as well as the NPC-owned ones. And they will pop up on here as you find them. So you've also got tracking of your own cats, so you can see how many are following, how many are waiting, and how many in total you actually own. Now, in terms of tutorials, you will get a lot of tutorials that come up in the centre of the screen, very similar to how the start of the game goes, and it pops up with things like press Y to jump. This will try and teach you as you play, as you interact with items and cats themselves. It will try and let you know how things work, but you will no doubt sort of miss a few things every now and then. So I've put a guide in here, built into the mod itself, and you can click on things, and you'll be able to see all the information that you need. Of course, there will be an FAQ as well to the mod on the mod page for any additional stuff that people just need to know about the mod itself, installation, things like that. So that's pretty much the lowdown on the mod configuration menu. It's pretty detailed, it's got lots of options in there, or you can stick with the defaults, which are kind of designed to give you a nice start off anyway. So let's get down to it. The cats themselves, straight away I'm going to mention that I didn't make these models. I'm not really one for doing modelling and rigging and all of that stuff. This is a somewhat well-known resource called HS Cats that has been used for various other mods, and it's an open resource, so I've used it for this. Before anybody asks why haven't you used Mihail's cat mod, it's because the animations are not using Sabercat, which these guys are, and they are instead using a Skeever's animations, which just has way too many limitations in terms of the animations that I need to pull off for various things like feeding and lying down and stuff like that. They were just too limited, and personally I just prefer these ones. These were the easier resource to work with a lot more variation. So that out of the way, as you can see, this is the first cat. This was pretty much the first cat, to be honest, out of all of them. He's called the Riverwood Stray. There's only one in Riverwood, so I say they're in the major cities. There's a couple of small villages that have them as well. And what you can do is you can interact with them. If you would do an observation, you may be able to hear some of the purring and the meowing and stuff like that. They've got some sound effects. It's a bit basic, but it does the job. You can kind of see what stance they are with you. So the whole stance system decides whether they like you or not, and it goes up or down depending on the different actions. So if you hit them in the face, they'll get angry with you. If you feed them nice things, they'll get friendly with you, and then more dialogue options will appear here. So you can see here you can also pet the cats. And oh, that was a bit weird. There are animations, you can turn those off as well if you don't want them. But I've tried to make things as immersive as possible, for Skyrim at least. And you can see as we play, there's a lot of those tutorial messages coming up, which is really nice. So before we can really interact with the cats to any big level, we need to have an idea of what we're doing, where we're going. So if I just go inside of the inn here and pop back out again, the courier should show up and deliver us a note, which is kind of to kickstart the whole mod off and give you a general direction of where you're going. Now I'm going to need to wait around for an hour before he shows up.
I've been looking for you.
There we go.
Got something I'm supposed to deliver. Your hands only.
Okay, come on, get on with it.
Got to go.
So he's given us a note. I'm not going to go ahead and read it, but basically it's from a guy called Melvin, letting you know about 2 new stores that have opened up that you can go ahead and visit. One's in Whiterud and one is in Riften. They're both sort of outside of the main cities. Putting them inside the cities, 1 would have been a pain, and 2 would have potentially caused compatibility issues with things. So I've really tried to make sure that these do not conflict with any major mods that people might have installed, city mods and expansion mods. So hopefully that won't be too much of a problem. And essentially what it does, you might notice that it put them on our map. It did a map marker update, and you'll see there's Melvin's Cat Store just outside of Whiterun. It's right next to Honningbrew Meadery. And there is also Jean's Store, which is just outside the main gate of Riften. You'll see there, which is really neat. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to head to the store, get some of the stuff together that I'm going to need, and then we're going to try and adopt a cat. I'll also show you the purchasing of a cat, and then the kind of dialogue options that become available to you, and the choices that you have surrounding what you can really do with your cat. Okay, so here we are outside of Melvin's Cat Store. It says Pet Store. I think I'm just going to leave it as Pet Store, otherwise I'll have to redo the sign, so ignore that. It's essentially a cat store. There was the potential that I was going to expand this to a lot of other animals, which is why I did Pet Store initially. I might change that still. But as you walk in, you'll see there are a ton of cats. There's usually a lot more here, but they seem to have... Oh no, here they come. Yeah, they like to gather in front of the doorway. I don't know why. They've been told to sort of sandbox, and they just really like the front door. So you may well be having to step over them to get over here. But you'll see there is a guy here called Melvin. He lives in this nice little shack next to the Honningbrew Meadery, like I say. He's made this lovely little pet store. I've tried to keep it very vanilla-esque, with a hint of, obviously, well, cats and other stuff. And before I talk to him, he is custom voiced along with Jean, and he has been custom voiced by a friend of mine called Stu, Couch Warrior TV. Strongly recommend you go ahead and check out his channel. He does amazing Skyrim content. And yeah, many thanks to Stu for voicing both Melvin and Jean. The voice acting is just amazing, and he's given them so much character. Because I didn't want just generic NPCs. We wanted to go all out with the dialogue and do something a bit more special and have some, you know, backstory to them. So let's have a chat with Melvin.
Hello. I heard people like to buy things from stores when they enter them. You need something? Yes, if you consider my cousin Jean's hole in the ground just outside the north gates of Riften.
So I'm not going to go through all of the dialogue, but you'll see that he's got some facial animations, expressions, standard for Skyrim, obviously, just like they've been implemented, so that he looks angry or happy at different times. There's a fair bit of dialogue that you can kind of run through. You've got some of the standard stuff with some fun kind of remarks, responses. Do you sell anything other than cats?
I have a dog allergy, rabbits are too fast to capture, and I don't much like the idea of trying to attach armor to a mud crab. So no, just cats.
So he's a bit of a sarcastic dick. Sorry, something going overhead. Just ignore the plane in the background.
Am I that good looking, or do you need a
Yeah, so he's a bit sarcastic. He's really quite fun. And what you can do, the main two things, obviously, purchasing things from the store or buying a cat. I'm just going to leave him for a second, and I'm just going to show kind of the interactive tutorials. So when you go up to things, you'll see that you can inspect them. And that's when it will kind of give some tutorial hints. You can also do it with things like bowls as well. So it's just going to teach you how things work in a bit of a more interactive way. He likes to hum as well.
Hello.
So let's go ahead and buy some stuff first. I'll show you the purchasing of cats later on.
Oh, you know, cat food, cat beds, cat collars, pretty much cat everything.
So you can see he sells cat beds, cat food, cat bowls, different types. He sells collars which you can actually put on your cats. They don't really serve any purpose other than just a bit of customization, which is kind of nice. He also does things like milk, and you can put various things into bowls. So what I'm going to need to do is just get some bowls. I'm going to get a basic one and a bit of a nicer one. And let's go with some cat biscuits, some cat food, oops, and some milk, and all of the treats. The treats are a very good sort of quick fire way to try and gain the trust of cats, but by default the chances of it actually upping stats is relatively low. But again, you can tweak that in the mod configuration menu. And I'm also going to get a bed. And I'll get a red collar. You can also get water as well. And I'm hoping to do some compatibility patches for that stuff, for I need and things. So now we've got the stuff that we need. Like I say, we'll come back. We might go to Jean to buy a cat. Get one a bit cheaper. We can head out. We can go and find another stray cat. We'll probably go into Whiterun actually, seems we're here. And yeah, we'll see how the adoption system works, the feeding, and all of that good stuff. Okay, so I've managed to locate one of the cats in Whiterun. It's actually the white one, funnily enough. Well, white spotted actually. So what we can do, go up to this one. We'll see we've got similar options. This one's not as friendly as the one in Riverwood. And if I do just go into the mod configuration menu, just out of interest for the tracking, you'll see that the Riverwood one is sociable, and this guy should have actually appeared in there, funnily enough. There we go, new cat discovered. Not sure why that didn't happen straight away. So now if we go into the tracking, you'll see he appears in there as neutral. And what we need to do is gain this guy's trust, because if we try and persuade him straight away, it may not go very well depending on our skill. And he's tried to attack us, which is a bit mean. But what you can do is use the items purchased in the store to fill up the bowls. So I'm going to do just standard cat food. Then you'll find that's in your inventory, and you just activate things within your inventory. Where is it? There it is. And you've got different options, so you can feed your own cats, you can feed stray cats, or you can just put the bowl on the ground and then shout out to any nearby cats. So I'm going to try and feed a stray. Got a little animation there, bowl's gone on the floor, he's turned around, and he's come to have something to eat. Nice little animation, he'll eat for a short time. There is a kind of a big time period for making sure that a cat can run over, start the animation, and eat the food. So depending on how quickly they run over, he may eat it quickly or he may eat it relatively slowly. Just to be aware of that. So let's just wait for him to finish. Shouldn't be very long at all. And when he has finished, there's a chance that the stance will increase. So as you can see, stance increase. As this progresses, more dialogue options will appear. So we've got back some of his trust, I hope, if we click on him now. We can pet him quite safely, which is nice. And let's try feeding him something else. So let's maybe give him some milk. That'd be quite nice. So do that for a stray. Got a bit frighteningly close to that sconce there. Hopefully he enjoys that as well. So he's going to have that milk. There's a chance that that will go up. I think we'll try and increase that actually in the settings just to give you an idea of how this works. So the feed success 100, the chance that, you know, he's going to come over and feed. And then there's also the stance success rate. It's what is it? Feed chance and feed success. So yeah, the feed chance, the chance of attracting nearby cats, and then the chance of the stance going up. So if we put that at 100, hopefully that'll work midway through, and that'll make sure that every time I feed a cat, it's definitely going to increase the stance, and then we can try and adopt him. So let's just wait for him to finish. Hello. What do you want? Let's come to have a sit down. Thought you were trying to steal my cat. Or my cat to be. Right, he's now friendly. So if I click on him now, you can see I've got the option to adopt him. Got a nice little purr there. I'm not sure if you'll hear it very well. And you'll see I've got something that I called Cool Cats in my inventory, which is really neat. These have their own custom sort of effects to them. Call any nearby cats that you own to come back to you. This is just kind of a backup of making sure that if your cat seems to have wandered off or he hasn't caught up with you when he's following, that you can kind of force him over to you just to make sure he doesn't get stuck. So again, nice little animation, nice little sound, and it just makes them appear next to you. Like I say, bit of a sort of fail-safe, if you will. So there we go, I've adopted my first cat. It just took a bit of feeding, bit of trust gaining. You can make it as difficult or as easy as you like. As you can see, I made that relatively easy there. You can get various different cats around the world. If you go to Riften, they'll be a heck of a lot harder to get, and some of them will actually be missing an eye, and they'll be very angry cats. You won't even be able to interact with them to start with. You will need to just keep putting food down and gain their trust that way. Now that he is my cat, I have various dialogue options available, so I can praise him. Tell him he's a good kitty. Sometimes they'll spit out some rewards, like some fish that they found in a river. And I can also give him a collar. So let's do the red one. Opens up a little gift menu. Black screen for a few seconds. And there you can see he's wearing his red collar, which is really nice. I can give him some treats if I want. Might be a bit hard to hear in the video, but he does have a bit of a sound effect to that. I can also pet him, and one of the cool things is I can name him. So I'm going to call him Bilbo. It's the first thing that popped into my head. Don't know why. And then from now on, it will refer to him in the notifications as well as Bilbo. If I was to stick an axe through his skull and kill him, I'd get a gravestone. And that gravestone would actually say Bilbo on it as well. But I'm not going to show you that. It's mean. You can also abandon cats. You can only do this to strays that you adopted. So they will run off and they will go back to where they came from. And they will hate you. You cannot get rid of cats that you purchase. You'll have to kill them if you want rid of them. So, yeah. Bit mean. Various... oh, why'd I crouch then? Various options. that you can do. And what I'm going to do now is make my way to Jean's store so you can see the other NPC, see what the other store's like. It's quite opposite to Melvin's in terms of cleanliness and presentation. They kind of play off of each other as well. They don't, well, I don't say that they don't like each other, but they kind of have a pop at each other's stores all the while when you talk to them. So let's head over to Jean's store. I'll show you that area as well, and I'll also show you how you can just straight out purchase cats if that's your thing. Okay, so here we are outside of Jean's store. You can immediately tell it's a lot more run down. It's just outside of Riften there. There's also a sign on the stones, which is kind of nice for a cat shop. And if we just walk up to it, head on in. I've got Bilbo with me as well. He was hiding in the grass. And like I say, it's a bit more run down. It's yeah, it's not very sanitary. It's a bit more dodgy, and you'll definitely get that out of his personality as well. So let's have a chat with him.
What can I do for you?
So he's very, very different to his cousin. Let's do a couple of other dialogue options.
No. You gonna buy anything?
They're both quite rude, actually.
As you might have guessed, I'm not a big fan of people. Plus, it don't stink out here.
So again, you can ask him questions about things, which is really cool.
Look around. Does it look like they sell anything else? What can I do?
So let's go ahead and say I want to buy a cat.
Take your pick.
So you get the option. Both places sell different types of cats at different prices. So what we'll do here, I think we'll get let's get a calico.
Thanks.
And what you can also do is get the Crazy Cat Person perk, which does actually come with some perks and various things like that. They will start to react differently to you if you've bought a lot of cats. If you've killed cats, they may refuse to sell to you if you get a reputation. And also, if you're a Khajiit, there will be some completely different dialogue options when you talk to them. And they'll kind of laugh at you because they'll think it's slavery, because obviously cat buying a cat. So you get some really interesting dialogue options depending on what race you are. Which cat is mine? Don't meow at me. Where's the cat I bought? There you are. So here's my new cat. I can name him as well. Jim. I don't know. Anyway, Jim and Bilbo. So I've got a cat here. Same options. You can kind of get him to wait as well. So he'll hang around. There we go. More notifications with his name on the top left as well, which is really cool. He's just going to hang out here. He tried to go in the bed and kind of failed, and I can get him to follow me whenever I want again. Cat followers do not count towards your animal follower limit. There we go. So that's all I'm really going to show. I think that gives you the gist of it. Like I say, there's a lot of other stuff that you can kind of explore. You can buy more cats. You can buy all of the cats, and then they will obviously not be able to buy you anymore. There'll be dialogue options there. There's a lot of cool stuff. Nice, fun 2 stores to go around with. I can quickly show you the cat bed, I suppose. We can... no, can't put it on the ground. So essentially that will detect whether you're in a player home or not, and you can actually turn that off in the mod configuration menu. So I'm going to do that just to show it off here. So that's in the advanced config, so it won't have that restriction attached to it. Activate it, puts it on the ground, and then you can also assign it. And 0 is Bilbo, 1 is Jim, so assign it to Jim. And then he'll start using that bed. So if I left that in my home and I told him to wait at home, you can do that as well, by the way. You can actually mark a home. So if I activate them now that restriction's turned off, I can say that this is his home. It'd be a bit of a stupid place, but if I told him to stay here and came back later, chances are you'll find him lying in his own cat bed that you purchased for him. And if I want, I can give him a collar. So yep, that's just about it. And that is it for this video, so I hope you enjoyed it. Please let me know in the comment section down below. Hit that like button and subscribe button if you have not already to catch more videos, which I will be making in the future. And of course, this mod is going to be released a week after this video comes out, so again, I'll put that release date on screen now. Got good old Bilbo and Jim with me here, and like I say, go ahead, download the mod when it's out, get your own cats, have fun with them, and yeah, that's about it. So thank you all very much for watching, and I will speak to you all next time.